Noah Brown's season is over. What's the state of the wideouts for the Texans? Welcome into the channel. I'm Cody Stoots. Let's talk some Texans. Unfortunate news for Houston on Monday. Noah Brown is headed to the injured reserve, the back injury ending his season. And players on injured reserve or headed to injured reserve are done for the year. So no more Noah Brown for the Texans for the rest of the playoff season. Take a look at his season now that it's over and what's it mean for the Texans going forward here in this video. Would appreciate a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Brown had a pretty successful season for a guy that was a bit of an afterthought in the wide receiver room. Coming into the year, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, John Mechie, high expectations for all of them. Collins in his third season. Tank Dell was a well-thought-of rookie. Mechie in his first healthy year playing in the NFL. Robert Woods was a steady veteran for this team, so I wouldn't say high expectations for him, but Brown was a little bit of an afterthought, had some moments in training camp where he was one of the better pass catchers, and it became pretty clear once he returned from his first stint on injured reserve that Brown was a trusted veteran for this team. He had 3 games that really jump off the page as incredible performances from him. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers game, the Cincinnati Bengals game, and the game where C.J. Stroud missed and Case Keenum started on the road in Nashville against the Tennessee Titans. Brown was really good in all of those and overall put together a pretty productive year. I think most about his Bengals performance where he was just bowling over Cincinnati defenders, helped set up the game-winning field goal towards the end of that game, at the end of that game in overtime as well against the Bengals. And then he came up big in Tennessee, but the back injury's been too much for Brown. He finishes the year with 33 catches on the season on 55 targets, 567 yards, and 2 touchdowns. A nice free agent signing, though it feels to me like Noah Brown's time with the team likely over when you factor in the wide receivers the Texans do have under contract and maybe some of the investments they may make in that position. Noah Brown seems unlikely to return, but he brought plenty to the table for a 1-year small investment. It's a good signing by Nick Caserio and Noah Brown. He gave it a go against the Browns. I got to imagine that hit he took on the pass that went a little high from C.J. Stroud was really the deciding factor for him. The pain and the injury, just too much. Noah Brown's season is over. Where does that leave the Texans going forward? Well, I'm not as worried about Brown missing the rest of the playoff run as I would have been maybe a week ago. And the main reason for that is John Mechie looked like a pretty solid wide receiver in that Browns game. He had 3 catches for 44 yards. It's the most yards he's had in a game this season. It's the most catches he's had in a game this season. He threw in another 9 yards rushing in that game. And the Texans got him some work over on the sideline, and he had some success doing that. And so if Mechie's just a little bit better than he has been over the course of the season, and D'Amico Ryans said on Monday, John's had an up and down season. Well, Saturday was the up for John Mechie. And if he can stay as a trustworthy wide receiver, I don't know that he needs to be super productive, but if you can at least trust him to go out there, run the routes, and you don't have any issues or worry about the hands, I don't feel as bad. Look, I'd rather have Noah Brown at, say, 80% out there than John Mechie, but Noah Brown's not an option heading to the IR going forward. And Mechie stepped up once Brown left the game, so I feel okay from that standpoint about the wide receiver rooms. Now that Mechie's showed off here in the playoffs against a pretty good Browns team, that he can at least produce something. Obviously, Nico Collins is the biggest aspect of this wide receiver room. He's got to continue to be a really, really good player for the Texans to go anywhere here in the playoffs. And then they've got Robert Woods, the steady, trusty veteran, and Xavier Hutchinson, whatever he can bring to the table as well. So from that standpoint, those are the 4 active wide receivers. And it's not the best wide receiver room left in the playoffs, but they certainly have done enough here in the past couple of weeks to showcase that the Texans can get it done with these guys playing for the team. And they did it without Noah Brown for basically the Browns game. They did it without Noah Brown for the Colts game. As long as Nico Collins is playing well and you get some production from some of those other wide receivers, you should be fine from that standpoint. The Texans have a vacant roster spot now. I'm not sure exactly how they'll use it. They've got 3 players on the practice squad that are wide receivers. Chase Cota from Oregon, who's a rookie. Alex Bachman, who's been around the organization for a couple of years now. And then Steven Sims. We all remember what Sims did earlier this year with his 3 practice squad elevation opportunities. And I feel like the play that most sticks out from Sims was, I think it was like 3rd and 22, and he took a screen for 23 yards and got the Texans a first down. Sims can be promoted from the practice squad again. Promotions reset in the playoffs. So the Texans don't necessarily have to use that roster spot on a wide receiver. They could use it on a different position, and if they wanted to promote a wide receiver from the practice squad like Sims or Bachman or Cota, they could do that from that standpoint. So they don't have to put somebody on the roster at wide receiver. If they don't want to, they can use that for a different position and then promote from the practice squad, say in this case, Steven Sims, for the game that they play on Saturday in the divisional round. So Noah Brown's season is in the books. That's not fun for him. Really wish he could have played a little bit more than he did over the course of this season, because he clearly was a veteran that this offense trusted. He was a veteran that knew how to run some of the routes here in this offense, and you could rely on him either as little or as much as you wanted to use him from that standpoint. The injuries caught up to him here at the back end of the season. That wrapped up what was a pretty productive 2023 season for Noah Brown. I do think that probably ends his time here with the Texans, and the Texans got some options and some figuring out to do with what they're going to do at the wide receiver spot. Maybe it's the elevation of Steven Sims. Maybe they just bring Sims onto the roster, or they use that roster spot for something else. Stay tuned to the YouTube channel. We'll get to it whenever that happens. Are you worried about Noah Brown's absence going forward? Let me know in the comment section down below. On your way down to the comment section, throw me a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. The playoffs rolling on for the Texans. So much more to get to here on the YouTube channel. Get you ready for the next opponent. Appreciate you watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. A little update on Noah Brown in the wide receiver room ahead of this playoff action really getting going for the Houston Texans. So much more to get to here on the channel. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate you subscribing. Throw me a like on the video. And I can't wait till we talk Texans again soon.